we're just having a conversation off the air about the letter that was released yesterday that says, yeah, United States is pulling out. We're pulling out of Iraq. Whoever released that should be fired. And in my personal opinion, after we look at the facts, if the facts show that it was something other than, oops, I just hit send, and I really meant to hit delete or whatever, this person should pay a heavier price than just being fired. This is something that has international ramifications.
Yeah, and the way they explained it was somebody sent it over to the Iraqi military guys, and they think that those guys may have been the ones who got it to the press. Although,
why would we send it to Iraqi military guys?
Here's the quote. It was sent over to some Iraqi military guys in order to get things coordinated for air movement, etc. Then it went from that guy's hands to another guy's hands, and then it went into your hands, and now it's a kerfuffle. So this is Operation...
Is this Dr. Seuss writing this? Who's writing this?
You know him? Because, yeah, that was Dr. Seuss. No. You don't hear the word kerfuffle from a lot of military guys. But, this was from Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, clarified to reporters that it was a mistake.
Was it after 5 o'clock? Was he phoning this in from a bar?
Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Yeah. So
that is the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard.
I mean, it seems like what they're trying to say is they're trying to downplay it, as you'd expect the military to do. And look, it was a mistake. People make mistakes, and that is true technically. It does happen. It just seems like that's kind of a bad one. And again,
it might be, seeing that it plays right into the hands of our enemies. I mean, that's, again, just go to the World War II comparison, because I think we can compare this guy to Himmler or to Goering.
Certainly in scope, it's what he desires, right? I mean, he hasn't actually gone through with the Holocaust, thankfully, but he certainly seems to desire it and has made public statements in that direction.
With what we knew at the time. Now, don't look at it from 1941, 1942. Yeah. We didn't know that Himmler was doing that.
If we could, in 1941, we didn't know that Himmler had drilled holes through the legs of children to torture them.
Correct.
We didn't know that.
We have photos of it.
Yeah, we have people who work on the staff who were there.
Yeah.
And saw and met the child.
Yeah.
Who's still alive, although the mother is not alive anymore. The father still is, and we explained in detail exactly what happened to them. This is not a guy like that's what's so weird about this one. You can understand, like, you can make a legitimate point that you're worried about the way this might spiral out of control. I don't think that's where this is going to go, but you can make that point and be legitimate about your concerns of what happens in the future, and you don't want these things to escalate, and all that's fine. But to just act as if this guy is a person who's a genius and should be respected, and you can understand why the Iranians love him so much, that is not the appropriate level of coverage for a person who has taken little boys and girls and taken a drill to them and drilled holes through their bodies. This is what this man has done. And that doesn't even include the American troops he's killed.
So here's the thing. If we would have killed Himmler or Goering in 1942, and all of a sudden the War Department at the time released a statement to Italians, and this statement got out into the press that we were thinking about leaving the war. We were just going to, we're just going to get out of France and England, and that's just the way it is. What do you think Roosevelt would have done? What do you think would have happened to that person that released that document? Do you think he would have gone, whoops, mistake?
Probably not.
This has dramatic implications. Can we get a handle? What does top secret mean anymore? What does a security clearance mean anymore if we have everybody's like, oh, I was just emailing these top secret documents to her basement at home. I didn't know. We're releasing top secret documents. I have a better record of keeping secrets, and I'm horrible at it.
Oh, yeah, terrible. Is it one of those, is it even appropriate to to write the letter at all. Like the letter basically says like, here, we're going to be pulling out, and we're going to be, we're going to need some time. We're going to need some extra clearance for helicopters to pick up troops and all these things. And
when was it written?
It was written after this vote, apparently, because it references the vote. Hey, you guys want us out, so we're going to go. So their point is like, well, we need to get prepared, because if Trump comes to us and says we're out, we need to be ready.
I agree with that.
That it's fine to prepare for it, but do you need to prepare the letter unless you get the order? If you get the order to pull out, okay, yes, prepare the letter, prepare everything. If you don't get the order, it's appropriate to think about, okay, these troops are going to have to go here. You need to plan in advance if you're in the military, clearly. Do you need to write a draft letter and send it over to the Iraqi military?
No.
Like, I can't even think
I don't
of
have
why.
a problem with them writing a letter, but it going to anyone other than the superior of the person who wrote it, makes no difference. What are you doing?
Even right, I mean, a letter is the last thing you like. It's just like, okay, we've got all of it planned. Let's let them know what we're doing. That's not something you're need to write in advance.
No, because you're thinking about this as one person, not a huge military operation where everybody has their specific role to play. There's somebody whose specific role is just to write that letter when it gets down to it. So if you're in a meeting and you're hearing that, okay, there's a possibility that we're going to be pulling out, you could just do that, so you're not the one that everybody's waiting for.
You call that person when the order comes in, and you say, "Hey, write the letter, dopey. Write it. By the way, don't just send it to the media. Here's the letter."
I think this person should be fired at best.
I don't know. They may have been told to send this letter over there.
Then that person should be fired.
Whatever it is, yeah. It says, "Sir." This is to Your Excellency, in case you were wondering who it was to. It's to Your Excellency.
Now, is this the president of Iraq or the prime minister of Iraq, who's really not the prime minister?
It's Abdul Amir, deputy director of combined
joint forces
of Baghdad. Yeah, let's see. It's the Iraq Ministry of Defense.
All right.
Your Excellency. Sir, in due deference to the sovereignty of the Republic of Iraq, and as requested by the Iraqi Parliament and the Prime Minister, we will be repositioning forces over the course of coming days and weeks to prepare for onward movement. In order to conduct this task, coalition forces are required to take certain measures to ensure that the movement out of Iraq is conducted in a safe and efficient manner. During this time, there will be an increase in helicopter travel in and around the international zone of Baghdad. The increased traffic will include various helicopters. Coalition forces will take appropriate measures to minimize and mitigate the disturbance to the public. In addition, we will conduct these operations during hours of darkness to help alleviate any perception that we may be bringing more coalition forces into the international zone. As we begin implementing the next phase of operations, I want to reiterate the value of our friendship and partnership. We respect your sovereign decision to order our departure.
Okay.
Very respectful.
Very respectful.
William Seeley.
That is wonderful, William, and I think that's wonderful that you had that letter written and sent out. I think whoever gave the order to send that out should be fired. At best, what this seems, the old joke is, I'm not paranoid. People are following me, okay? But that joke is not really a joke anymore when it comes to our government. I don't think that there's a deep state. I mean, I'm not crazy. It's just that there really is a deep state. I don't know if this guy is he friends with anybody in the State Department? Is he friends with anybody in the intel that's part of this? I understand. I understand that that's probably not it and not where we need to go. But I have to tell you, you have to start thinking that way if you're in the government, because there are players. Why would you do this? Oh, it's just a mistake. Really? How come every mistake that the State Department and the military are making seem to fall in line exactly with what the press would love?